Hello wizards and aspiring wizards. Today we're going to walk through the world's easiest design tool and show just why Wizard is the design tool for everyone. By the end of this video you will understand how you can start designing your app and web ideas inside Wizard in minutes. So let's get started. To kick things off, I'm going to click on Create New Project, and then I will need to make a decision on whether I want to design an app or web experience in the top left hand corner. Once I've done that, I need to decide whether I want to start from scratch or choose one of the ready-made project templates. Templates are a great way to save time and get inspiration, and here at Wizard we are always adding to this library. Don't see a template you need? Hit us up with your request at support@wizard.io, where all submissions are reviewed and considered. Before we jump in and start creating, let's get a feel for the layout here, which is inspired by presentation software. Now for the vast majority who have experienced this, it should feel like a familiar environment and shorten the learning curve. Over here on the left you can navigate between your screens, and then up here at the top you have all your components which you can drag and drop onto your screens below. Over here on the right hand side you have a panel which will allow you to make edits to your screens. Now before you jump in and start editing, you may want to invite your team members for real-time collaboration. All I have to do is click on the sharing button in the top right hand corner and then type in the email address of the person I want to invite, and then I can decide if they have edit access or they can just view and leave comments. Remote collaboration means less meetings to get aligned and less emails describing features you want to get feedback on. Collaborate with anyone, anytime, anywhere, straight from your web browser. Okay, now we can start creating and editing. Now of course I picked a project template earlier, so a lot of the work has already been done for me. But for today's walkthrough I still need to build a profile page and a settings page. So I'm going to start off with the settings page, and to do that what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Add New Screen here in the top left hand corner. And then at this point what I can do is I can start dragging and dropping any of the components up here to start building out my settings page. Whether I want to have an image, I want to pull through some icons, maybe a button or some form fields. It's very easy for me to go ahead and do that. But for today's walkthrough what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take a look through our component template library here. And what we have here is hundreds of experiences that have been built out for you to search through and use, again to save time or just for inspiration. Perhaps you're building out a booking experience and you're trying to figure out what that might include. Coming here and grabbing one of these templates is going to help. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my settings page, and I'm going to look at the options that I have for settings. And here I'm going to pick the settings form. I'm going to come over and I'm going to drag and drop this onto my screen as so. There we go. Now of course you can see it doesn't quite fit on the screen here, and what I can do is I can drag this down and I can make this a scrollable experience. So of course I can actually put in more content here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a footer, and I'll go for this navigation footer here as so. There we go. Now I've created my settings screen, I'm going to go ahead and create the profile screen. To create the screen we're actually going to use Wizard's sketch conversion technology. Now before you go ahead and start sketching, it's best to double check the sketching guide, which is here in the bottom right hand corner, and make sure you follow all the instructions to ensure that you get a good conversion, like so. Once you're ready, click Upload Wireframe in the top right hand corner, and then select the sketch that you have drawn out for conversion. Once you've done that, all you need to do is wait for your conversion complete, and once you have your conversion, you're ready to edit. Editing is super easy and straightforward inside of Wizard. If you ever use presentation software, you're going to find it easy to edit. First thing I'm going to do is move some of these components so they are positioned in a better place. As you can see, when I move any component, I get guidelines to help me position them in regards to other components within the screen. Next, I'm going to center the text at the top, and again, really straightforward. I just select the text, and then on the right hand side, I'm going to click center on align. Now to finish editing, I'm going to add an image. Now images are great to add to your prototype as they bring them to life and give a better idea on what the final product could look like. Again, this is really simple to do. I just click on the image component like this, and then on the right hand side I click upload image, and here I have two options. I can either click on my computer and then upload my own images, or I can use Wizard's Unsplash integration. Now the Unsplash integration is great as it gives you access to over 2 million stock images absolutely free. And to complete today's screen, I'm going to select this individual here. Now while I don't mind the look of my project, I'm going to check how my app looks with other styles. To do this quickly in Wizard, I just click on the Themes tab on the left hand menu here, and then I can switch between different themes. The great thing about this feature is I don't have to worry about going through and editing every component to the right colour. I just click on a theme and it applies it to all screens, which also allows me to experiment and test different styles rapidly. Of course, you can also create your own theme. I can either do this manually where I can select my colours and fonts, or I can create my theme from a source of inspiration such as an image, URL or sketch file. For today's walkthrough, I'm going to create a theme from an image. All I need to do is give my theme a name and then just click on the section just underneath to upload my image. My image has two screens here that I like the style of, specifically the shape and colours of these buttons and the font. Then I just need to click create. We'll wait for the theme to be created, and then once that is finished we can apply it to our app. As you may have noticed in the image I used to create this theme, there were 3 different button types. To access them all, I just need to click on a button, and then on the right hand menu I can click on theme and it shows me all the different button options. At any point during your project you may want to revert back to a wireframe. Maybe you just want to look at the architecture, or you want to receive feedback on layout and not content and colours. Well, with Wizard it's as easy as a flick of a switch. On the left hand menu, click the Themes tab, and right underneath it you should find wireframe mode. As you can see, by clicking the switch it changes all your designs to wireframes instantly. I can now review the architecture of my designs, and I can even build out wireframes by dragging and dropping components from the top. Once you're finished, just click the switch to revert back to high fidelity. Once you're happy with the final look of your app, it's time to make it interactive. Again, this is really simple. I just click on Interact tab on the right hand menu and I can start creating some interactions between screens. As I started with a project template, you can see some interactions have already been created and I need to connect my newly created profile and settings screens to the rest of the app. To do so, I just click on the starting point and then drag the arrow to the screen I would like to navigate to. I can also add animations by simply clicking on this arrow and then selecting the type of animation I want and how long that animation will last for. When I am happy with the setup, I can now click on preview mode and experience the clickable prototype I have created. Now I've finished creating our prototype, I can export this and share. You can do this as a JPEG, PNG or PDF, but if you don't see the export option you would like, please click this link and submit the export format you would. All submissions are reviewed and considered. I can also send out a share link by clicking on the sharing module and clicking on the switch at the bottom. Once people are finished with the share link, I just need to hit the switch to disable it. Of course, you and your team can comment and keep the conversation inside of Wizard. To do so, just click on the comment tab and then click exactly where you would like to leave feedback. This saves time on long emails trying to describe what you want to give feedback on. Just click for context, leave your comment, continue the conversation and then resolve it. Congratulations, you are a wizard! If you found this video helpful, give us a like and hit the subscribe button for more Wizard content.